kids, it's Aunt Molly. How is everybody? I'm okay. I had kind of a boring day. I don't know about you guys. I hear you guys have a lot of schoolwork that's keeping you guys really busy. I'm hoping to maybe do some FaceTime with some of you. Cash and Shelby's mom asked me last night maybe if we could Skype or FaceTime sometime this week. So the answer is yes. Yes, please. I'd love that. So I'm going to read you a few more pages of The Shadow. I have no idea how long this story is. We'll just get to the end when we get there. But I wanted to say something. I'm kind of at the end of my crazy hats unless I find one. And maybe I can make a turban and put a crazy pin on it and stuff. But I have other cool stuff, so why not share it with you, right? So I was looking in my crazy hat drawer and I found this. And this is an interesting piece. My mother was an antique dealer back in the day, back when I was in high school. An erstwhile antique dealer. That means, oh gosh, it means she kind of fell into it. Well, that's how I mean it when I use it. But she loved to go out into the country where we lived in East Texas and go find old barns and stuff and make a deal with people and buy a whole chifforobe. And a chifforobe is kind of like a dresser or an armoire. You know, it's a cabinet, and they used to keep clothes in it. So at an estate sale one time, she bought a locked dresser, a chest of drawers that was antique, and all the contents in it. I don't even know what she paid, but usually she'd pay like $2 or $3 for something, restore it, and sell it for $300. You know, because it was antique pine, which was very hard wood back in the day from East Texas, from these giant forests that I grew up in, and from Victorian times. And so the things would be painted purple and whatnot, and she'd fully restore them and make quite a bit of money. And that was her we used to call that her egg money or her bread and butter money. So she did not work. She was a housewife, and she was a consummate housewife. She was kind of like a modern Martha Stewart, like modern day. And so she was a wonderful cook and seamstress. She used to make me clothes from scratch, whole suits, you know, full 3-piece suits from scratch and stuff. She was a home economics major in college, and she was really amazing. And she would can things, and she would you know, cook all her meals from scratch, and they were always very nutritious and wholesome. And she was a wonderful homemaker. A thing you don't see every day these days because everybody has to work. Both parents have to work in this economy. But I had kind of a mystical, magical childhood in a way that I grew up in a big pine forest for the second half of my childhood with Victorian mansions strewn about. And it was kind of a culture. I grew up on the beach when I was younger, so in Florida and Texas, so I did not fit in. But I was kind of like Alice in Wonderland, so maybe I just never would have fit in wherever I was. But I spent a lot of time, you know, walking the streets, and in the spring they would be foggy and wisteria would be hanging down, and that is why I'm a Southern Gothic playwright. I would have never become a Southern Gothic playwright had my dad not transferred jobs to East Texas. But with all that said, I have I have some real interesting vintage pieces. And one of them is this collar that is a handmade lace Victorian collar. Is that not beautiful? So the ladies used to sit and tat. There's a style of lace making, and they would make a lace Victorian collar, and it would be a real status symbol, you know, that they had spent all this time. I mean, honestly, let's look at that for a second. Let's take another look. Is that not just, this is handmade, and it's a foot long and goes, and then the back of it, it has little places for buttons, so you would have put little pearl buttons in it and buttoned it down the back. And people were smaller. Well, I'm a big person. I'm 5'8" now. I used to be 5'10", but this probably would have gone to the waist of some lady. So she would wear it over her handmade dress, probably to church or special occasions or whatever. But isn't this, I don't know how I ended up getting so lucky sometimes with some of the cool stuff people have just given me. But yeah, my mom gave me this, and that was one of the treasures she found in the chifforobe, or the dresser that she it's Kind of funny. Well, anyway, it's beautiful. I'm very proud to have it. It has been in a baggie all this time, so it is not dusty, which I'm very sensitive to dust. But without further ado, I'm in my cool lace Victorian collar. That's absolutely immaculate, mint condition, not a tear or anything in it. And I've had it since the 70s. I've had it since I was 15. I'm going to read you with my she's so dusty, it gets to me every time. With my vintage Raggedy Ann doll, I'm going to read you a little bit more of The Shadow, my Hans Christian Andersen, okay? Okay, so here we go. Let's see. See, so my book went back just a little bit, or it's stuck. So I'm not where I was supposed to be. It's gone back to where he was very finely dressed and how he explained he was finely dressed. Yeah, now we're back to the place where he says he knows everything. Sorry. I could have been more well prepared, but you know what? This is just fun time for you and I, where you and I get to share time together. I also wanted to say I've been thinking of Austin lately, and Austin is older. I started nannying him when he was 3, and now he's, you know, in junior high, so no, he's not in junior high. No, he's not. Wait a minute now. Time is slipping from me. Austin, I think he's 11 now. Something like that. But anyway, a lot of time has passed. But I got a wonderful Christmas card from him this year. And sometimes I still babysit his dog, Allie. And so I get to see them on occasion. It's nice. Let's see. Oh. So let's go back to the story. Are you ready? I live on the sunny side of the street, and I'm always at home in rainy weather. And so away went the shadow. That was most extraordinary, said the learned man. Years and days passed away, and then the shadow came back again. How goes it, says the shadow. Alas, said the learned man, I write about the true and the good and the beautiful, but no one cares to hear such things. I'm quite desperate, for I take it so much to heart. But I don't, said the shadow. I become fat, and that is the way one wants to become. You don't understand the world. You will become ill by it. You must travel. I shall make a tour this summer. Will you go with me? I should like to have a traveling companion. Will you go with me as shadow? It will be a great pleasure for me to have you with me. I shall pay the traveling expense. Nay, it is too much, said the learned man.